What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So I first just wanted to say thank you to everyone who viewed my first video, everyone who has commented, everyone who has been supporting. I really appreciate your support so much. It means the world to me. So thank you so much for that. So in my first video, I explained how it was in the beginning of my life, how I grew up in the church and how things were in elementary school. So in this video, I'm going to delve deeper into how things went in middle school. One thing that I wanted to address that I did not cover in my first video is the fact that I'm the youngest of four siblings. Now, the next oldest sibling to me is my sister Jennifer. We are 4 years apart. She's the only sister that I actually lived with and grew up with. My other two siblings are half siblings from my father's first marriage. I've always known that they've been my brother and my sister, but we never lived together or anything of that nature. So the only sibling that I lived with was my sister Jennifer. Most of you know Jennifer, who know me. We are extremely close. We love one another. We respect one another. We understand one another more than anything. However, when we were growing up, it was not like that. We did not get along. We were really sarcastic to one another. We did not treat each other with respect. We were not kind to one another. I'm not sure exactly why it was that way. I don't know if I was just an annoying little brother to her or what the case might have been. We've never really talked in depth about it. But when I was younger, we really did not get along. I would say the only time that we really got along was when we were on vacation and we were having fun. Other than that, we really did not get along. But thankfully, that is not the case anymore. Um, Another thing at church in middle school, I actually I lied about the fact that I said that I had a girlfriend in church just to try to be normal, to try to be like everyone else. I'm not sure if they necessarily believed me when I said it, but I told them that I had a girlfriend named LaShawn. Again, I don't know if they believed me, but I used that to try to make it seem like, again, I was normal. So let's get into school. So in school, I actually joined the band in sixth grade. I joined the band because Jennifer was in the band through her middle school and high school years, and my mother and I would attend her marching band competitions, and that really had me excited to be in the band. And the instrument that I wanted to play, or the instruments in my case that I wanted to play, I wanted to be a percussionist. The reason why I wanted to be a percussionist is because being a percussion to me was the most masculine thing to do in band. Again, I'm trying to put on this mask of being normal at my middle school age. So in the sixth grade, the first thing that we did in band was to do tryouts on all of the instruments to see which one of the instruments would be the best fit for us. So my top two instruments for me were percussion and flute. Now looking back on it as an older man, I feel like I would have been much better suited as a flute player. I think I would have dedicated myself to the flute. I feel like I would have practiced a lot more often. I feel like I would have just been a better flute player than I ended up being a percussion player. But of course, at that time, I'm not thinking straight. I just want to be a masculine man at that time. And so I chose percussion. Granted, I was pretty good at it in middle school, but we'll talk about it later in high school, how it just kind of went downhill from there. But anyways, band was kind of an outlet to me because elsewhere at school, it was not so nice. So I was in band in sixth grade and it was great. Now, the darker side of middle school. So in the sixth grade, there was this one bully. This one bully who made it his mission to make my life a living hell. Every time that we locked eyes, every time that he saw me, he made it a point to call me a faggot. He made it a point to call me a sissy. He made it a point to call me a girl. He made it a point to insult me. He made it a point to demean me. He made it a point to make me feel like I was nothing. And this was relentless. He was relentless at this. I literally, every time that he saw me, he wanted to make my life a living hell. And this, thankfully, I didn't have any classes with him. But anytime that I saw him in the hallway, anytime that I saw him at lunch, anytime that I saw him, he just made it a point to insult me and make me feel like I was nothing. That continued on through the sixth grade, through the seventh grade. Another interesting that happened to me in the seventh grade was my first kiss. My first kiss was with one of my neighbors. There was a girl that lived about two houses down from me. She obviously liked me. She had just moved in. She was making googly eyes at me while we were at the bus stop, and everyone could tell that she really liked me. So one day when we were walking home from school, after school was over with, we were walking home. We had just gotten off the bus. We were walking home, and she stopped me. She stopped me, and she was pretty short compared to me. I'm a pretty tall man. Right now I'm 6'2", so I was still tall in middle school. So she bent down. She pulled down my head for me to bend down, and she kissed me. Oh my gosh, I was traumatized. As soon as I got home, I washed my mouth out. I called my mom, and I was like, "Mommy, this girl kissed me," and it was a terrible experience. And there's no shade to her at all. She was a lovely young woman. She was so nice to me, and she just liked me. And it wasn't her fault, but just the fact that a girl kissed me, that was one of the things that really showed me that I was a gay man, because that thing it was just traumatizing. I just could not take it. I could not take it at all. So anyways, going back to the bullying. In seventh grade there was another bully that did the same thing that the bully in sixth grade did to me. Every time that he saw me, I actually had a class with him in seventh grade. It was math class. He wouldn't say anything in the teacher's presence, but again, anytime he saw me, he made it a point to call me a faggot. He made it a point to call me a sissy. He made it a point to demean me. He made it a point to make me feel like I was nothing. I would actually go out of my way to go to the nurse as often as I could, praying that I had a temperature so that my mom can come pick me up and take me home, because I could not deal with it. Another thing that I did in the seventh grade was I would actually wear my mother's jacket to school. I wore my mother's jacket to school because it actually smelled like her. And anytime that a bully would decide to call me those names and make me feel like I was nothing, I would pull the jacket close to me and just inhale, because it smelled like my mother, and it would feel like my mother was there with me. It was the most that I could do at that point, because there was no escape from the bullying. There was no escape from it whatsoever, because I have to go to school. And it was at this time that thoughts of suicide crept into my mind. I was a little bit obsessed with doing it. Um, I had it all planned out. The only thing that I had not figured out is how I would do it. But the time that I would do it, the person that I wanted to find me, I actually had my suicide note thought out thoroughly. The names that I would include in the suicide note of the people who led me to this decision that I made to kill myself. I had everything planned out, because there was no escape from this bullying. And then when I got home, the relationship with my sister was no good either. So I felt like I just had no escape whatsoever. And I want to make it clear that I didn't want to kill myself because I was gay. That was not the point. The point was I wanted to kill myself because I could not deal with the constant torture of the bullying. And the biggest mistake that I made at that time is that I did not talk to anyone. I did not talk to my parents about it. I did not talk to a counselor about it. I did not talk to my teachers about it. I didn't talk to my friends about it. I didn't talk to anyone about it. I just kept it all on the inside, and it all festered up. And the only way out that I thought was taking myself out. And by taking myself out, my thought process at the time was I could be with God, someone who understands me, someone who created me, someone who knows me better than I know myself. I would be with him. I would be safe in his arms. I would be away from the bullies. I would be away from the torture. I would be away from everything that made my life the way that it was. So, my message to anyone who is thinking about killing themselves, who is thinking about ending their life, who is thinking about just not going forward with life, I'm here to tell you, don't do it. God loves you. If you don't have anyone to talk to about it, talk to God about it. But even if you think you don't know anyone to talk to about it, find a friend, find a family member that you trust. Find someone to talk about it to, so that you can get this off of your chest and it's not festering on the inside of you. Because again, that was the biggest mistake that I made in middle school, is not talking to anyone about it. It may not have helped that much, but it would have gotten it off of my chest and it might have made me feel a little bit better about it. I may have still contemplated suicide, but there might have been someone who to tell me, no, don't do it. Someone to encourage me. So that's my biggest thing, to let you guys know. If you're, maybe it might not be bullying. Maybe you feel like you're at the end of your rope. Maybe you feel like there's no hope for you. I'm here to tell you that there is hope. If you're still here, that means that God still has a destiny planned out for you. God still has a plan for your life, and killing yourself is going to rob you of life, rob you of the possibilities that might be forward against be that might be ahead of you. So if you don't feel like there's any way out, just reach out. Just reach out to someone. Reach out to a family member, a friend, a counselor, a therapist, someone who can hear your cries. And if there's no one else on this earth that you think that you can talk to God about it, and He will direct your path. So that's all for my middle school years. Now for my next video, I'll talk about how it was for me in high school. It got so much better for me in high school. And so that will be what I will talk about in my next video. So I want to thank you guys again so much for your support. I thank you so much for watching. And again, my hope is that in these videos, someone will watch my videos and see themselves in me and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So until next time, I'll catch you guys later.